Hi there, it's Sarah again from Roxy Creations by Sarah, and I'm back to show you some more progress that I've made in my journal from my trip to Italy. I've almost finished it. So I think I'd shown you some of the things we did in Florence last time. Now this is sort of leading up to New Year's, some different things that we did. So ripping out bits and pieces from magazines, little cutouts of paper, cutting out the letters to write Happy New Year. A photo, I've got to actually back that one. I haven't done that yet, just realized. So all my gluing I've done pretty much with PVA or just normal Yoo-Hoo glue stick. So this was then New Year's Eve. So this was an envelope I found in Florence, a little envelope, and then this was kind of like a little scrappy thing that you stitch together. Rachel showed me how to do it with a little tiny robin, which is super cute, and inside there's just a card there with some journaling. So, you know, cute printables I think my sister gave me from someone, bits and pieces out of magazines, etc. So if we turn over, this was going to a town called Urbino, which has really beautiful ceramics. So this was the card from the restaurant that we went to, and I put some images of the castle that we saw that I took. This is us in the snow. It was the first time we sort of had been around when it was snowing. Another one of those stitched little snippets. My son sleeping, passing out in the car on the way home. A beautiful postcard that I got. This that comes down into a fold out using some trim. This was our ticket to get into the castle, so I used that to keep the images, photos I took inside the museum. And up the top here we've got one of my printable doilies, embroideries, which I've journaled on. Turning over, this was going to a town called San Leo, which is where my sister got married. So this is the fort or castle on top of the hill. And then if you look down this way, this is the town below the valley. So she kind of got married down here. So what I used is a map that they gave out for free at like their newsstand, the news agency, as the main page, which is really interesting. So you got the fort up the top here. And then my sister got married down here in the plaza. And then I know this house here is her favorite house. She'd love to buy that one day. I know that, and it's beautiful. It just looks straight up to the fort, which is lit up with lights at night time. It's beautiful. So our family, beautiful afternoon sun inside the fort. It was used as a jail, so there's lots of jail cells. This is one of the little windows. This is the really thick wall. So this wall is on the far side, and on the far side it's literally a straight drop down the cliff, you know, probably at least 100 meters or more. But it's a really thick wall. My sister hates heights, and she was panicking that her daughter and my son were going to go over, and she was holding the back of them with all her might. My brother-in-law Stefano, who's here, and myself who's taking the photo, we were pissing ourselves laughing, and this woman here just thought we were completely insane. It was so funny. So a beautiful shot over the town with the clouds, some journaling up on the back of that card there. Just a few more photos from inside the jail. My son with a chunk of snow. Got some washi, another one of those little scrappy stitching things. This was a brochure about San Leo at Christmas time. And then this here is an envelope on the end. We went bowling that afternoon. In the envelope I've put a card with my brother-in-law and his parents, because we went out to dinner, and some scrapbooking there, some sort of collaging, of a bunch of different papers. And then in here is our ticket that we used to go into the museum up in the fort in San Leo. So turning over, this was our last night where my sister lives. We went to a beautiful restaurant. It's probably the best meal that we've had there. We all loved it. Came from a recommendation of a friend of my sister's husband, Stefano. This was a shopping card off a thing of some tracksuit pants I bought my son in a shop that he liked. And then that was the 9th of January. This is now the 10th of January when we got the train to Rome. So there's quite a bit going on in this one. So down the bottom, what I've got is another envelope, little bit of collaging on the back, and in the pocket I've put a bunch of photos. I've put the business card of the hotel where we stayed, And then this was, which way does it go? This was the ticket for us to go up to the top. We climbed, I think it's up to that level there. Yeah, it's that level on the Vatican, which was amazing. It's my second time doing it, but first time for my son. This is a public domain image from the New York Library of the Vatican and looking across the river. And then in this pocket, I'll just take these out so you can see. Hello Rome, cut out the letters and the 10 for the 10th of January. A tag I'd made in Australia because it was Christmas time with some journaling on the back. It's just a paint chip. This was in the map room in the Vatican Museum, and our ticket on the back. And this was a beautiful postcard that I found outside the Vatican with a few photos of us inside, and they all go in that little pocket there. On the top, these little ties, they're just a bit of silk, random pieces of silk. So turning over, this is now Pompeii. In the background here, I actually stuck down the wrapper from some chocolate that we got to have on the bus on the way home. This is washi tape, did some stamping down here. These little blue bits are pieces of the map of Pompeii that you use as you go around. Again, public domain images from the New York Library. So this would be Naples or Napoli, and then looking over towards Mount Vesuvius, and then Pompeii's over towards this side. Again, the ruins of Pompeii looking up towards Mount Vesuvius. And these were photos I did. So this was just naturally a green background, some kind of paper I had, and I've stuck washi over the top of it to give it some pattern. Stuck some photos. This was a bag I got from a shop in Australia, more photos, and I cut out the bag so it made a pocket, and inside I've used again the map from Pompeii and done some journaling on the back. That is actually the story of what happened to Pompeii. And then this one, some pictures of things we saw on the back of, this is actually old book paper, and I think that's out of a Daphne's diary, and that was our thoughts on Pompeii, some journaling there, so they go in there. And now we came back to Rome. This was a beautiful sticker that a friend of Rachel's called Mary, sent her a whole box of goodies, and she gave me a couple of her stickers. That's really beautiful. So this was our first sightseeing day. So I've ripped up some pieces of map because we had a few maps and stuck pictures down. Made a belly band. This card here came with this belly band, so I've simply stuck it in. The page was already interesting. It was out of a book on France, not Italy. And I've put my map of, this is the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. So I wanted to keep that. So I've stuck that in the belly band. It fits really well. And then what I did on the watercolor painted card of the Colosseum, I've done some journaling. That's one of my printables. This was our ticket, some photos, talked about some things we did, and then stuck the map of the Colosseum and the Roman Forum, which is where we were. So a bit more on the Roman Forum on the next side. So I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see it. I took a panoramic photo. So I've used that. Sorry, there's a few watermarks on it. My printer's not the greatest. Not this one, not this printer. I've got a better one, but a few water splashes there. A few more pictures, some tickets, washi tape. This was rice paper that you can get. It's Stamperia rice paper that you can get in Italy. I got some on Italian operas. La Boheme. I think it's Italian. These here, I just did some collaging. Nothing specifically significant to what we were doing. It's just all about Rome. And inside is a hand-drawn illustration of Rome, which is really old, from the New York Public Library. This time I did definitely stick an Italian opera here, Tosca, because Tosca is based at the next place we went to, which is called the Castle Sant'Angelo, which is this place here. So what happened in Tosca is in the third act, the heroine in the play jumps off the very, very top of the castle to her death. And so Tosca's based there. So I've put all that in there. Another watercolour beautiful postcard of the castle, and then over here is the Vatican City. The seagulls. The seagulls in Italy are huge. They're nothing like what we have in Australia. They're like 2 to 3 times the size, and we were fascinated by them. So this little guy here was standing right at the top of the castle and just posing for us. And over this way just is the Vatican. So the Vatican's behind the kids here. And this little guy was posing for us. So then we did a bit of sightseeing. This is my niece Lulu pretending to be grumpy because Jamie's hugging my sister. We bumped into one of my sister's friend's parents in Rome, which was really, really random. And then a watercolour postcard of Castle Sant'Angelo. On the back, wrote down about the different things we saw and about the opera, map of where it is. And then later that afternoon, we went and had a look at the Trevi Fountain. So another beautiful postcard, one of my printables with a little bit of commenting on what we did there. So they're just going into this little pocket. Okay, well, they make it a bit bent, so I'm just going to pull them out a bit. So then my son discovered that there was a Lego store. Well, there was actually two in Rome because we saw a kid with a bag and he's never been to a real Lego store and he loves Lego. So we actually found it. This is my sister's face because we were there for at least an hour at the Lego store, and this is our receipt. So he bought a few things. One of my printables, what I'm going to do, I haven't done it yet, I'm actually going to print a couple of Roman Lego men and just stick them here as well because this is all about him and his Lego adventure. And then the next morning we came home, so nothing too interesting there, just us on the plane. And I took, just put some, images back to Australia, kangaroo, little wombat stamp, Australian stamp, and home sweet home. So I do have a little bit of space. I have a few pages that I can fill in. What I think I might do is just print a few more photos, my favourite photos from the trip. And then I've got the Dirty Street Challenge page, which I have done on the other video. And then I've got another page where I can put something. And back here, I didn't know where to put my Pompeii map. I love my Pompeii map because if you have a look at it, just open it for you, it is completely falling apart because I bent it so many different directions. And what you can actually see, I've marked things out, all the places where we went, because if we go again, we'll know that we can look at other places that we didn't get to. And luckily I had a friend who's an ancient history teacher here in Australia at the same school as me, and she told me our must-sees, so we were able to make sure we went to certain ones that she told us we needed to go and see. So I'm keeping my map. It's falling apart. It's very thick, but I don't want to get rid of it because I would really like to go back to Pompeii, and it'd be nice to make sure you see things that you haven't seen before, and also you might want to go back to some of the ones you really liked. But because it's so thick, all I'm doing is at the moment, I'm just sticking it in the back so I don't lose it. So that's it, super thick. Might add a few more images in, but not much more to be done to it because I really can't fit anything else. I can't fill it up with any more, basically. So I'm really happy. My first ever journal I've made. It's held up pretty well. It was nice to be able to test out to see if I could actually make one and it wouldn't fall to pieces, and I'm happy with how it's gone. So I hope you get a little bit of inspiration and enjoyed seeing what I've done in my journal. I'll see you later. Bye.